Good evening, everyone. We're ready to begin tonight's March 13, 2018 City of Gardena Regular City Council meeting. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Madam Mayor, noting the presence of all council members.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. City Attorney, do we have anything to report from closed session?
No, we don't. No reportable action was taken.
Okay, thank you. We're going to begin tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight it's going to be led by Miguel Romero and Juliet Coleman. After that, if everyone can please remain standing for invocation, that will be led by the Reverend Sam Evans. So please stand.
Place your right hand over your heart. Face the flag.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Well, actually, we're going to have everybody continue standing, and if I can get the Reverend Sam Evans, please come to the front.
Good evening. Can I just say this? I'm really glad to be here tonight, and for a reason you might not expect. I woke up about 2 in the morning thinking that yesterday was Tuesday and I'd missed this meeting. So if there's anything you can do to make the time change illegal, I would be greatly appreciated. Let me pray for us. Father, we come before you just in gratitude for the people who serve in leadership here in the city of Gardena. Not only for those that stand before us, but for every person in every office that serves here. We are indebted to them and grateful for them. We pray, Lord, that you would guide them with your wisdom, that you would make them fearless in their decisions, balancing it with grace. We pray your blessings upon them and upon their families. We ask for your peace upon their families so that they can serve here with diligence. We pray that as they serve, that they would lead this city into peace and prosperity. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, everyone can be seated. So if I can have our two pledgers, please come back to the front, Miguel and Juliet. So Miguel Romero and Juliet Coleman are both 8th graders at Perry Middle School, whose principal is Miss Marva Patton. Miguel and Juliet were chosen because of their exemplary leadership at their school. Miguel is the Associated Student Body President, and Juliet is the Associate Student Body Vice President. So let's start with Miguel. Miguel, can you tell us who brought you here tonight?
My parents brought me here as well as my grandmother and my brother.
Where are they at? Raise their hand or stand up so we can thank you guys for bringing them out tonight. And Miguel, would you like to say anything?
Thank you for letting me be here tonight.
All right. Well, thank you. We appreciate you being here and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Also tonight, we have Juliet Coleman. And Juliet, can you tell us who brought you tonight?
My mom brought me here with my cousin and my sister right there.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for bringing them out tonight. Raise your hands so we can see you. Thank you. And Juliet, is there anything you'd like to say tonight?
Thank you for inviting me here.
All right. Well, thank you for being here as well. So everyone, let's just give them a round of applause for doing such a great job. And we hope that you guys continue being great students at Perry Middle School, and we look forward to seeing you come back again and lead us in the pledge. Okay, thank you. Also tonight, we were led in our invocation by the Reverend Sam Evans, who is the pastor at Gateway Fellowship Church, which is located at 1581 West 186th Street in Gardena. Pastor Sam Evans serves at Gateway Fellowship in Gardena. Their inaugural service was held on Sunday, June 5th, 2016. Gateway is a satellite facility for their main church, Rolling Hills Covenant in Rolling Hills Estates. Until his last assignment to Gateway Fellowship, Pastor Evans has served as the pastor of their Life Group Ministries since 2011. Pastor Sam is a native of California and grew up in San Gabriel. After serving in the United States Army at the 82nd Airborne, he returned to Southern California and embarked on a career in aerospace, spending the bulk of his 30 years in manufacturing at Northrop Grumman as a project manager. In 2005, Reverend Evans sensed the call of God on his life and left his position at Northrop and enrolled in seminary at Talbot School of Theology in La Mirada. He graduated in 2011 with a Master of Divinity degree. In addition to seeking to serve the community in Gardena, Sam has a heart to serve the poor and currently sits on the board of directors for the Beacon of Light and Doors of Hope Rescue Mission in Wilmington. He is married to his lovely wife, Karen, and they have 4 wonderful adult children. So, Pastor Evans, would you like to come back to the front, please? If there's anything you'd like to say.
I would like to say first, thank you for this opportunity of letting me serve you, not only here tonight, but in the city of Gardena. I really believe this, that God has placed you here to care for the people of Gardena, to seek their prosperity and all of that, but He has placed us here also to serve this community, and it's our pleasure to do so. As I like to say, there are some things only government can fix, and some things only God can fix. God bless you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So next, we're at the part of our agenda where we will be honoring our military veteran at this meeting. And tonight's veteran, who was nominated by Councilmember Henderson, is Mr. Matthew John Mitchell. And if you'll please come to the front while I read your bio. Mr. Mitchell enlisted in the United States Navy in May 1958 and served until honorably discharged in June 1962. He served with the 7th Fleet as a second-class machinist mate E5, having attended the Class A machinist mate school, and his responsibility was to operate and maintain engine rooms. For his military service, Mitchell was awarded the following: National Defense Service Medal, Navy Expeditionary Medal, Bronze Star Medal, Honorable Service Lapel Pin. Also, following his training and service to our country, Mr. Mitchell taught reading and mathematics at Crenshaw and Dorsey High School with the Los Angeles Unified School District. In addition, he worked in the Long Beach Naval Shipyard as Supervisor Industrial Engineer Technician, providing engine services to mechanical, electrical, and electronic shops. He also served as a general foreman, boil maker in the production department, supervising foremen and employees of boiler, foundry and blacksmith shops, and naval ships. His position also included industrial engineer technician in production administration procedures and analyst division. He was also the production scheduler, boil maker in shipyard production schedule division. Mr. Mitchell is also a 47-year member of the Bryan Temple AME Church, holding numerous leadership roles. So before I let you speak, Councilmember Henderson, is there anything you would like to add to that as well?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I definitely want to say this is a high honor to honor Mr. Mitchell, Matthew Mitchell. We sat and talked for quite some time, and we talked and we laughed like old shipmates usually do when we laugh. For those that don't know, my shipmate, Mr. Mitchell, is a 7th Fleet sailor. For those that don't know, 7th Fleet sailor, our motto is haze, gray, and underway. We never see land. So we had those stories, and he was a 7th Fleet sailor before I was a 7th Fleet sailor, and I was lamenting about, man, we never get to see land. And he was like, it's always been that way. So I actually learned a lot from Mr. Mitchell in regards to that. There's 6 fleets in the U.S. Navy. I'm not sure why they numbered it starting with number 2, but we go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's our government for you. But it was a real honor just to kind of sit back and talk and understand some things about the Navy then before segregation and different things like that. We shared some real serious stories. So I don't want to take all your thunder, shipmate, so I'll let you please speak. Thank you for your service.
I'm just about speechless. However, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this award. I'm grateful for anything that anyone does for me. And I've been here in Gardena since 1972, and I enjoy the city. Yes.
Now present you with these.
Yes, absolutely.
The certificate he's presenting to him comes from our Assemblyman, Mr. Al Marasucci, who is recognizing him as one of our military recognitions here in the city of Gardena. Also, he's also receiving a commemorative coin that we give to every single veteran. We honor every single city council. So again, let's give him a big round of applause.
Okay, so next we're going to our, we're actually giving out a certificate of appreciation to our police officer reserve, Randall Clark. We know him as Randy. So if you come to the front while I read this certificate here, and this states that this is a certificate of appreciation that is being presented to Police Reserve Officer Randall Clark, in united and wholehearted recognition of one who has given of himself so generously to the city of Gardena, its official staff, and citizens for a noteworthy 47 years of outstanding service as a trusted and dependable sergeant at arms at City of Gardena City Council meetings. So we, the mayor and the city council members of the City of Gardena, offer an official Gardena farewell to him and extend our sincere best wishes for his continued good health, for much happiness, and share with him our genuine desire that he and his family may enjoy many rewarding years in the future in their new home in Texas. Reserve Officer Clark will certainly be missed for his exemplary dedication to the city of Gardena's officials, and citizens are most grateful. So, Randy, you have the microphone.
Well, it's been a long time, but it's been a lot of fun. When I started as a new reserve, it was kind of difficult getting used to and different things that had to be done. And Gardena is a good place to live and to be a police officer too. I started under Chief Roy Tracy, and it just went on for years and years. And actually, the next one was, let's see, my baseball coach. Come on, Rodney. Nope, before that.
Oh, you're talking about Hudgens.
Hudgens. Yeah, Hudgens was my baseball coach. He tried to teach me to catch a fly ball in left field, so they moved me to third base. So I did a lot better there. And the years going through all the different departments of the police department, the traffic and patrol, and even worked with the K-9 for a while. I wasn't in charge of the K-9, but it was a pretty noisy operation. And I think Gardena's on the right move, and I have worked with the chief when he was not the chief, and when he was like brand new, and he's come a long ways. Yeah, I think it's and Rodney too. Yeah, it's been my pleasure to serve, and I want to thank you for this award, and I'll see you in Texas.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Everyone, please give him a round of applause. You know, we're actually going to take a picture with him right quick here. So, come on, everyone.
47 years.
Before we go to our next presentation, I'd like to make a couple of quick introductions, and our city manager, I'll let you go ahead and make those introductions tonight.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm really happy today to have 4 members of that are students at USC in a master's program in public policy and administration. They're here to watch how government works. They're part of my class on Monday nights, and one of them has followed me the other day here. But I just want to welcome them, and you know, this is our future leaders in government. So thank you for being here, and we appreciate your contributions in the future to good public service.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I do.
We're not going to put anybody on the spot tonight. Thank you for being here, though. Okay, so next we have a proclamation. I apologize, I lost my spot here.
Mayor, I do have one more announcement.
Oh, please, go ahead.
On the personnel report, we have an addition to our management staff. We're really happy to have Nora Versellis, who's responsible for the city's human resources division, including labor and employee relations, classifications, compensation benefits, recruitments and selection, organizational development, and workers' compensation. In joining the city, Nora brings over a decade of high-level public safety experience in water utilities and county government. Her experience includes organizational strategic planning, human capital, plan implementation, labor negotiations, workplace investigations, arbitrations, and contract management. Prior to joining the city, Nora was the chief labor negotiator for the County of Riverside, negotiating labor contracts for all represented employees. Nora is licensed to practice law in the state of California and holds a bachelor's degree in finance from the California State University, Long Beach. We're really happy to have her as part of our executive team, and I'd like her to stand up to be introduced to the City Council.
Absolutely. Nora, welcome, and I'm glad council members can now put a face with the name there, so good choice there.
Thank you.
Okay, any other announcements? No? Okay. So next we're going to move on to proclamations, and next proclamation is in regards to the American Red Cross, and I believe we have somebody here today, Mr. Will Washburn. Okay, as you come forward, I'm just going to read the proclamation before we let you speak here. So tonight's proclamation states, whereas every year since 1943, the President of the United States of America has proclaimed March as American Red Cross Month and called upon Americans to make a donation, to volunteer, to take a class, or to give blood. And whereas across our nation and around the world, statistics reveal that the American Red Cross responds to a community disaster every 8 minutes, arriving to provide shelter, food, emotional support, and necessities to those affected. The American Red Cross collects nearly 40% of the nation's blood supply, provides 24-hour support to the military members, veterans, and their families, teaches life-saving skills such as lifeguarding and CPR to millions, and through its Restoring Family Links program, connects family members who have been separated by crisis, conflict, or migration. And whereas the American Red Cross Los Angeles region, with their nearly 6,000 volunteers, helped to provide a direct service assistance to local communities, using opportunities to educate citizens about the services they provide. Further, in 2017, they responded to 4 of the year's largest and most complex disasters, the back-to-back hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria, and the deadliest week of wildfires in California history by mobilizing trained local disaster volunteers and employees on deployments, sending shelter, support material, and equipment. And whereas in collaboration with the support and efforts of the American Red Cross, the City of Gardena is sponsoring a blood drive on Tuesday, March 20th, 2018 at the Nakoka Community Center. So therefore, as the mayor of the City of Gardena, we hereby proclaim March 2018 to be American Red Cross Month and encourage citizens of Gardena to volunteer, make a donation, take a class, or give blood to show their support of the activities of the American Red Cross. So, Mr. Washburn, if you'd like to say anything.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Push the button.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and Council members, for the proclamation. I so willingly accept on behalf of the American Red Cross.
And I just wanted to add that not only do we respond to state and national emergencies, we are currently also assisting one of your community members, the people who had their mobile home run into by a vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
So there are situations where we can assist locally, and anyone who needs further information is welcome to call the American Red Cross or go to redcross.org. And thank you once again.
Okay, thank you, and we appreciate how you're helping our citizens out there.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so the next part of our council meeting, we're going on to appointments here. Does any member of the council have any appointments to be made to any commissions, committees, boards, or council at this time? If not, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. Does any member of the council wish to discuss any items separately? Let me just finish the statement. To discuss any items separately here? Councilmember Henderson?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to discuss item D1A and B.
D1, A and B. Okay. Okay, any other items anybody would like to pull from the consent calendar? Okay, so let's pull that item and let's approve the consent calendar, excluding items D1A and D1A and D1B. So can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar excluding those two items, D1A and D1B?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Medina,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next we're going to discuss the excluded consent calendar item, the first one being item D1A. Councilmember Henderson?
Yeah, not to rehash this whole thing, I just wanted to make sure, I wasn't clear on, especially more or less item, well, 1A, I figured we could have done a different process, so, but I want to say definitely congratulations to the Assistant City Manager to become City Manager. But item B, in regards to that employment agreement for Deputy Chief Kang, for those 18 months, what will be the criterion at the end of that 18 months to see if that person then gets the permanent position? I don't think we discussed that.
Sure. Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, the City Manager is authorized to appoint all the department heads. The City Council has in front of it a approval for a contract, which is what the City Council does. Just like any promotion, there's a probationary period. During that time, we will seek input from not only community, all of you, myself, and to see that he is performing at the level that we want for our police chief. Certainly, the contract also provides the ability for the City Council to exit the agreement with certain stipulations.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that it was clear to the candidate of what the criterion is to be extended beyond that contract if that opportunity is presented. That's all. That was my only question.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions at this time? If not, I'd like to make a motion to approve item D1A and D1B. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion. Oh, my apologies. My apologies. I am sorry. You did have, I'm sorry. Before we go on to the motion, Mr. Kennedy, you did want to speak on item 5D1. Please come forward.
Beg your pardon for interrupting like that.
That's okay. My apologies for overlooking this by accident.
I was going to make a speech tonight, but I got sidetracked this morning on Facebook when I read an article in the Daily Breeze that included Mitch Lansdale at the top of that chart, if you saw it. And it really got me mad because he was a city manager for years. And what he did, and what he did, and Mayor Tanaka, was to save our city. The two of them, we were headed to bankruptcy, and the two of them came up with a plan to save our city. And to have him described in the Daily Breeze like they did with almost no acknowledgement of what he did, to me was a disgrace. Mitch Lansdale deserves better than that. Now, this particular item is the Ed Medrano becoming the city manager. And I've known 2 city managers in my time. Ken Landau was one city manager. He was a corrupt city manager. He took all those trips to the East Coast. No one knew why he was going, what he was doing back there. It took a reporter from the Daily Breeze to figure it out and write articles about him, and that was the end of Ken Landau. And then we got Mitch Lansdale. What a great thing for our city. And now we have another one. I know there were people in this city that stood up here and wanted you to do a search for a city manager. It would have cost tens of thousands of dollars. What a waste, an absolute waste, when we have the best person I can imagine. In fact, if you had gone that route and chosen someone, it would have been the wrong person. Why? Because you did not have a requirement for knowledge of card clubs. You didn't have a requirement for knowledge, experience, nothing. And so anyone coming here is going to start day one down here and go up in terms of knowledge of card clubs. And I think Ed Medrano knows card clubs as well as anybody here in the city. So I am in favor of him. I noted last year when I was sitting back there in my favorite spot, one time he said that he's going to have a separate item on the agenda. And what he did was, he said he noted that people spoke at this microphone, and a lot of times nothing happened. And so he has a section on the agenda that he reports, hey, maybe something needed to be done, a memo written, a report. So what impressed me about that was he was listening to people here standing at this microphone that would come up and maybe complain or have a gripe or an issue. And so he doesn't want to let those things go away. Because if it's not on the agenda, technically, I guess you don't have to do anything. But he wants to do something about that. I was really impressed with what he did. And so I hope that you do select him, and also Thomas Kang as the police chief. And our city will be in great shape, great hands, the 5 of you. I think you're doing a great job, really. You have such a nice mix, and the city does too. And I regret, in a sense, not being here anymore. The city I'm in right now sent me this notice the other day, a bond measure for a new police facility. This is in Claremont. It's on the June ballot. $23.5 million in bond that they are going to issue if the voters, 2/3 of us, say yes. Here is different. You've got the money already. You've got the money all ready to go if you want to spend it that way. How lucky for the citizens, really. How lucky for the taxpayers. Thank you very much.
Mr. Kennedy, thank you for your comments. And before we get ready to vote, I guess I'll take it upon myself to say this. I'm looking forward to voting yes because on both these issues, because I know that acting city manager Medrano is going to make an amazing city manager in our city. And he's done a phenomenal job for many years. So I'm looking forward to voting yes, as well as also approving acting Deputy Chief Kang to become the new Chief of Police. So, Madam City Clerk, if we can go ahead and with the vote.
Can you, we're kind of interrupted.
Oh, okay,
Can
I'm
you
sorry.
please,
I made the motion, and
yes.
it was seconded by Councilmember Henderson.
Who made the second? You did, okay.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
this is for the excluded,
This is for the
item?
excluded, yes,
portion
for
here.
item 5D, 1 and A and B.
Yes, I'm
Okay,
sorry. Let me
so,
clarify.
all right, thank you. Mayor Serta.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Have to remain consistent, no.
Okay. I'm sorry, did you call it already? Okay. All right. Congratulations to you, and congratulations to you, Chief Kang, and our new city manager. I think that deserves an applause. Looking forward to all the great things you're going to do. Okay, next we're going to move on to item number 7, which is the Planning and Environmental Quality Commission action sheet. First item is 7A1. Does any member have any questions, call for review or anything? If not, okay, we're going to move on, receive and file. Next is item number 7A2. Any questions, concerns, call for review? No? All right, we're going to go ahead and receive and file. Item number 7A3. No? Okay, going to go ahead and receive and file. And before we go to oral communications, normally we would not do this, but I had a request from the person we recognize tonight, our Sergeant at Arms, Randy Clark. He wanted to say a couple more things here. So only because this is a special recognition, we're going to go ahead and give you the microphone. And then after that, we're going to go to oral communications. Randy?
I see everybody's getting nervous already. Great job getting promoted. That's great. I've worked with both of these captains and chiefs, and they were a lot of fun. And Rodney was too. I'd like to bring my wife up.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. You don't have to sleep in a doghouse.
If we had a doghouse. This is what made 47 years really possible, because she's the one who took care of the kids when I was out doing the park patrols on, Halloween, 4th of July, the different park carnivals. What else?
All the other days.
All the other days. So I want to make sure that she got some of the recognition for allowing me the time and wherewithal to do all this.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Please, everyone give them a round of applause.
Mayor Serta.
That'll make the next 51 years easier.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes.
I'd like to draw your attention to 7, the Planning Commission items, A2 actually, where we say call for council review or set public hearing date.
Oh,
so
my apology.
I believe you need to do that. Thank you.
On this item here, we need to call for a public hearing? A review? I'm sorry, did I skip over this?
Well, you received and filed all of the items, I believe.
I thought I did the zone change
And
one.
I just noticed that 2, zone code amendment, call for review or set public hearing date. So you received and filed everything. So
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I think we skipped D2, 3, and 4.
There's only a 3, not a 4.
Do,
No, those are on the consent.
they were all on the consent?
Yeah, we only took B1A and B.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So item number DA2.
April 10th would be the appropriate date.
Okay. Let's go with April the 10th. We will be having a hearing on the zone code amendment. Okay? All right. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so next up is oral communications. We have 2 speakers tonight. First one is Perry Johnson, and the second is Cheryl Sherman.
Honorable Mayor, member of the City Council, City Manager, I'm also a graduate of USC. I won't tell you what year. I may. Before you is some paper from the City of Hermoso Beach. And this is an agenda item they're having tonight, and I have a copy for all 5 members, the city manager and the city attorney. And this deals with a proposed law, SB 827, which has to deal with population density along transit lines. It's an overriding of your authority to zone your city. The city of Hermosa Beach opposes this. I'm urging you to also oppose this. I'm urging the mayor to direct the city manager and city attorney to review this and bring this item back 2 weeks from now for your approval. I'm also asking the Gardena Chamber of Commerce to review it and for their input. Maybe they can direct a letter. It's sort of self-explanatory. It's not long. It's overriding your zoning authority and creating large structures, residential structures along every bus line and every transit line in the state, which includes Gardena. I don't think we want this. I think it's an extension of SB 35, just more extreme, more people, and you will lose control because it does not require public approval. It only requires administrative approval, which means it never is reviewed by the Planning Commission or the City Council. So please review this. Please have your city manager and your city attorney. I'll say it once again. It's on the agenda of the Hermosa Beach City Council, and if you know them, they are normally for these items. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Cheryl Sherman.
Good evening, everyone. Cheryl Sherman, Vice President of Friends of Gardena Willows Wetland Preserve. And I want to share with you that our Restoration Workday will be this Saturday, and hopefully we were going to have 3 hours that we will just maybe have a little tad of sprinkles, if anything, so that because we have a lot of work that we need to get done. So don't let the gray skies scare you away. Come on out. Last Sunday was a stroll day, and I think everyone decided because it was a little gloomy, it wasn't a good day, but those people that came out said, how come there's nobody here? We had very low attendance, and it was beautiful. The weather was wonderful, no rain. So don't miss out. Come on down for the work day on Saturday. That's 8 to 11. And then the next thing I want to share with you is if you belong to Amazon, or if you make purchases on Amazon.com, and if you're not registered for Smile.Amazon, which is their charity division, which offers the same prices, everything's the same as Amazon.com. The only thing is, by picking a charity, and of course I'm a little partial, I suggest that you choose Friends of Gardena Willows. They give back to the community. And from today through the 31st of this month, they are doing a promotion. They're going to give 3 times their normal give back. So make your purchases to Friends of Gardena Willows. Help us out. Enjoy your purchase and help the friends at the same time. If you'd like more information, I have flyers in the back of the room about it, and they're also at the Community Center, Nakoka Center, City Hall, and the Mamie Deer Library, and online at www.gardenawillows.org. Thank you so much.
Okay,
and
thank you.
everything is blooming at the preserve.
Okay, thank you. Next up is item number 8B1. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item number 8B1 is an authorization to purchase a CNG-powered Timco street sweeper for the amount of $350,375.75. This is a 2019 compressed natural gas CNG-powered Timco street sweeper for the street division of the General Services Department. Purchase of this vehicle will replace a 2001 sweeper, which has reached the end of its useful 10-year life expectancy and falls below current air quality standards as required by the EPA and California Air Resources Board. The 2019 Timco 600 regenerative air sweeper is powered by an ultra-low emission natural gas engine utilizing near zero emission technology, meeting the latest low emission standards from the EPA and CARB. Purchase will be through the Houston-Galveston Area Council Buy Program, a multi-state contract resulting in a significant cost savings to the city. The HGAC Buy Cooperative Purchasing Program offers vendors an opportunity to compete with their lowest bids and enable municipalities to obtain the best overall price for their procurement. It is used exclusively for government agencies and allows municipalities to produce items such as trucks and other fleet maintenance equipment for the lowest bid range. The amount of the expense, as I mentioned, is $375,075. It is going to be funded by the sewer fund and certainly helps improve our quality emissions for the city of Gardena. What is required is the City Council authorize this purchase.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions on this item or comments? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, in regards to the actual Houston-Galveston Area Council buy, was that more competitive than CMASC and WISCA and all the other California multi-state contracts?
Yeah, so some of those, you know, as actually determined by one of the last purchases we made at G-Trans with the Hondas, we looked at all different opportunities. Sometimes these contract pricing is the best, but they're not always the best, so it's always important for us to do our due diligence and check which is the best price.
Understood. Have we given them some feedback in regards to that their contracts aren't as competitive as they believe them to be?
They are, but they do. They take feedback. What happens is when they apply these contract provisions on a more global scale, some of the local vendors with local incentives are able to be competitive. So it's very important that our staff look at not only these pre-negotiated contracts, but what we can negotiate directly with some of the more local or regional vendors.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to approve this purchase?
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascadian.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next up is item number 8B2, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8B2 is an award of contract for a local street overlay 2017 at various locations, which is under job number 1919 to All American Asphalt in the amount of $1,127,770. The City Council initially approved the plans and specifications and authorized advertising for bids at the 23rd of January meeting. 7 different bids were received on February 21st, 2018. The lowest bidder was American Asphalt, and they are a state licensed contractor with verified success in this field, specifically a lot of work they've done in the city of Gardena. They will be required to meet all bonding and financial statements. The project will overlay approximately 610,000 square feet of asphalt pavement, slurry 1.4 million square feet of pavement, and construct 2 new American with Disabilities Act compliant curbs at various locations. I will add that some of that slurry is to improve some of the aesthetics as a result of a lot of construction by the water company on our streets, and I know that many of you have received complaints about that. Sufficient funds to complete this project were approved by the council in the 2016-2017 capital improvement budget using gas tax funds. It's interesting to note that the difference between the highest bidder and the bidder that was awarded the contract was over $285,000. The budget amount is $1.5 million. The funding source is gas tax fund, and the anticipated revenues from those funds would be $1.5 million. It is required that the city approve the contract.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the council or comments? Council, Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
Yes, Mr. City Manager, this also includes the recycling clause that we have on, when it comes to...
All the grinds and overlays will require them to recycle the material.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Oh, I just have one. Is there any way that we can kind of get an estimate of how much we're fixing that Golden State would have had to have fixed and possibly send them a bill? I mean, we are fixing this for them, and this is their
We would
fault.
love to do that, Mayor, but under the current regulations and our current ordinance, we're not, we're prohibited from doing that. Although I will tell you, staff is diligently looking at a impact fee as a result of the damages that a lot of the public utilities cause our street. As many of you know, our roadway index rating is 85,
Correct.
which is one of the highest in this region. And I do believe it may be degraded a little bit next time we do it because of all of the work. The slurry, the slurry is not an ideal situation when, you have all this patchwork, but it does aesthetically improve, the streets, especially in the residential areas. So yes, we are diligently looking at different options. At this time, we're somewhat limited.
Okay, sounds good. Mayor Pro Tem Medina?
Yes, just as a follow-up with regards to, and this is looking forward, having some clauses that will entail us having an inspection to see if what they finished is exactly the way they left it?
Yeah, we currently have that. They are required to complete the repairs to our satisfaction. Depending on how old the street is, since it's been redone. So, for example, if they tear up a brand new street, they have to completely redo the street. But if the street has, let's say, past 5 years since its last major renovation, they're required to do less work, which is generally filling in the locations where they had to cut into and provide the appropriate fill, and it's inspected. But that does not require them in all cases to fill in the patchwork that's created among that. The street may be solid, although we would argue that it's not as solid as if it was originally done, but then you have all this patchwork. The slurry on most of these cases will create that uniform appearance throughout our street.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to approve the award, the contract? Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Kaskanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Tanaka. Yes. Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8B3. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8B3 is an award contract. This is a pedestrian safety improvement at various locations, job number 923. Sidewalk replacement 2018 provides sidewalk improvements at various locations throughout the city in the amount of $296,000. 9 different bids were received on February 27, 2018. The lowest bidder was OCC Bidders, Inc., and they are a state licensed contractor with verified successful construction experience in this field. They will meet they're required to meet all the bonding and financial statements that are required for these projects. The project will remove and replace approximately 5,300 square feet of sidewalk, 880 linear feet of curb and gutter, and 32 street trees. 44 new curb ramps will also be installed in accordance with the American Disabilities Act. The difference, interestingly enough, on this bid from the highest bidder and the award bidder was $383,000, which is much greater for a smaller project. I know the council has been very interested in how these competitive bid processes go. We thought the variances in this proposal was pretty significant. Sufficient funds to complete this project were approved by the council in the 2017-18 capital improvement budget using Measure R local and South Bay 821, Senate Bill 821 funds. The fiscal impact would be $390,034. The funding source is Measure R and SB 821 funds. The anticipated revenue will come from both of those two measures. That's required is to award the contract.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments? Councilmember Kaskanian?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, it's this significant dollar amount that is difference, $380,000. How good of a job these OCC builders they're going to do? What kind of material or, I mean, $380,000, that's a lot of money. I mean, are they using the right materials or?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. All of the materials and all of the specifications are released in the request for bids. So they must comply with all of our specifications. They can't submit, you know, a lower grade, let's say asphalt or a different type of work plan. Their plans must be approved and meet the requirements by the city. A lot of the differences have to do mainly with how aggressive they want to be, how busy some of the companies are, you know, what their what their margins are in terms of how they operate, those kind of things. OCC Builders has done work in this city before, you know, and has done a good job for us, just like American Asphalt on the previous one.
Well, does the city of Gardena will go and inspect while they were working, and we'll see if they're doing the right things?
Oh, absolutely. The city, our inspectors will ensure that everything is taken care of as required by the specifications of the bid, and we will retain payment until it meets our satisfaction.
Thank you.
Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, in regards to the contract, and if we were to receive any protests to the bid and everything, do we have our paperwork in order that shows our criteria on our selection in regards to those that were not selected but that were well below the high end, just in case?
Yes, and specifically in this, we had for a smaller project, we had a significant amount of builders. So there's documentation why they were selected. Price is obviously one of the main drivers, but is not the only driver.
Definitely not the only one, so we're prepared in case of a protest. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Mr. City Manager, I have a question for you or possibly the builder if they're here, OCC. I'm curious, when they redo the curb as far as to make it ADA compliant, how long does that process normally take? I mean, is it a 2-day process, possibly a week, and especially with them doing 44 of these curb ramps here?
Yeah, we've actually done more than 44 and under one contract. Depends on the type of work. We're almost finished completing all of our intersections with ADA ADA ramps. But like everything, now the ramp specifications have changed, so some of them will actually have to be redone at the grade slope has to actually be lower than when we started putting them in, let's say, 10, 12 years ago. So the ones that are just redoing is a little bit easier. The ones that have to be completed from scratch, are a little bit more difficult. These companies are, very proficient on doing these, in generally speaking. I don't know exactly how many days, but depending on the weather, they're very efficient in getting these poured.
Can you give me a kind of an estimate? Let's just say if it's one particular corner, is it usually 1 day, 3 days? And if the builder's here, can they answer?
The builder is not here, but
Okay.
I mean, if they are working just on a curb with a demo and reinstallment between 1 and 3 days.
Okay, and the reason why I'm asking this is I know the last time we did a large amount of the curbs to make them ADA compliant, we had situations where they started working on this and they left this large pile of sand or asphalt, I don't know what exactly it was, but material there for at least 2 weeks out. And we had some residents complaining about this. So I just want to make sure that because they're doing so many of these, 44 new curb ramps, that we don't have several locations down the street where, sand is sitting there for a week or 2 weeks at a time. So I just want to make sure we kind of stay on top of this here.
Was that specifically on Gardena Boulevard by chance?
No.
Okay.
Okay,
I
it was
will.
on both
I know that
residential.
Mr. Cruz is listening to you, and he will ensure that they do now do that.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions? If not, okay, Councilmember Kaskanian?
Mr. City Manager, as far as the fees, those builders or the contractors, they pay us fees, right, in the city to pull the permits and everything else, or no?
Required to be licensed in the city. The fees for permits would be counterintuitive that they would just charge us back for those permits. It is our work, so if we charged them, let's say $100 for a permit fee, they're going to charge us back for really doing our work. So two ways of doing this. Our city staff could do it, or we go out to bid. Obviously, this is far exceeding the capacity of our city staff to do. So it would be counterintuitive to charge them fees to have them charge it back to us.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Kaskanian and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next up is item number 8B4. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda number 8B4 is ordinance number 1790, amending section 13.40.010 of the Gardena Municipal Code to adopt by reference the 2018 edition of the standard specifications for public works construction, the Green Book. Kind of ties into a little bit about what we were just talking about. Ordinance number 1790 will update the city's use of the standard specifications for public works construction 2018 as a standard for construction in the public way. These will all have all the specifications, some of which of you guys have discussed relative to how ramps and the angles and what kind of materials and you know, those kind of things. It is recommended that the City Council set for a public hearing on April 10, 2018 to be held prior to the Council's final review and adoption of ordinance number 1790. At 3-year intervals, a complete revised standard specifications to public works construction is published in a book form. We call it the Green Book. This is a standard every 3 years brought before the City Council with the latest codes and specifications. The city is required to adopt the revised specifications to ensure enforcement of the latest and most appropriate construction practices. What's required is to introduce ordinance number 1790, set a public hearing on April 10th for the City Council meeting on this item.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? And if not, can I get someone to introduce the ordinance so we can set the public hearing for April the 10th of 2018?
So moved.
So you'll introduce?
Introduce.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, it was to be introduced by Mayor Pro Tem Medina. Okay, moving on to item number 8D1. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of City Council, agenda number 8D1 is approved carnival contract with Back Brothers Classic Rides for Carnival at Raleigh Park, June 15th, 16th, 17th, 2018. The June Carnival is to be held at Raleigh Park on those dates. The city's Recreation Division, with their sponsored group, the Gardena Youth Sports Advisory Board, has sponsored carnivals since 1987. The carnivals serve as fundraisers for the board, and money raised is used to provide the City of Gardena sports and recreation programs with funding for direct needs and other donations to the department as funds will allow. In the past, Council has requested the Recreation Division hold periodic carnivals at Raleigh Park in addition to other carnivals held at Moss Fukai Park and others. This year's carnival will actually coincide with the opening day ceremonies for our youth baseball and softball programs at Raleigh Park. So it's a 2-for-1 here on that. What is required, there's no fiscal impact. What is required is for the City Council to approve the contract for the carnival.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments? Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, in regards to the our percentage of ticket sales at the gate, do we also kind of count the money with them, or do we just let them say this is what we made and here's your cut, or do we send Clint down there as well to count with them as far as audit? What do we do exactly?
No, I don't believe Clint's going to be doing that. Ms. Fugio and her staff are responsible for coordinating that as dictated in the contract for the cost sharing to put the carnival on and share the profits.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, is this the first time we've used the Back Brothers, or have we used them before?
That is an excellent question. I'm not sure I have the answer to that, but maybe Ms. Fujio can let me know if that's accurate.
And am I pronouncing it correctly? Bach? I'll be Bach. Okay.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, Bach Brothers is just a subsidiary of one of the carnival companies that we've always used, Signature Events and Catering. So they just have their, they have different carnivals. And so the general carnival that we have is elsewhere, since we chose Father's Day weekend instead of the spring and fall carnival like usual. So just another carnival of the same company.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Any other questions? Councilmember Tanaka?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a quick one. With the new parking districts, are we going to make sure that we have sufficient parking?
Yeah, I actually neglected to say that. I had a note there. Yeah, these are one of the events that will have to bag the signs at that location. So that's a coordination between not only the Park and Rec staff, the police department, and general services. But it's nice that this event is being it's a carnival, but also the kickoff of baseball and softball.
Yeah. Okay. If there are no other questions, can I get a motion to approve the contract?
So moved. Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Tanaka and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Medina. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next up is item number 8E1. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor, Serta, members of the City Council. The next two items are tied together and are as a result of the infrastructure improvements that G-Trans will need to make to have its mixed fleet. So I'll start with number one. Agenda item 8E1 is an approval of an agreement with DHS Consulting, Inc. for construction management services for a contract amount not to exceed $113,315 and a program total not to exceed $124,647. As part of the fleet plan approved by the Council in February 2017, G-Trans is purchasing a mixed fleet of not only compressed natural gas and electric buses when purchasing new vehicles. As part of the plan, G-Trans will construct a CNG fueling station, which is not currently there at the yard, and an electric charging station to allow the fueling of its entire diverse fleet of current and future buses. An RFP was issued in September 2017 where work will include project management, procurement, support, construction, contract administration, and will serve as a focal point for coordination between the contractor, G-Trans staff, the City of Gardena, and other agencies, whether they be regulatory or, as the next item comes up, a utility company. Following a pre-proposal meeting and a job walk, two proposals were received, one from DHS Consulting and the other one from SOMAS. After a comprehensive review of the proposals and references, DHS Consulting, Inc. received the highest score. DHS has a significant experience working with Southern California Edison, which has directly related to the G-Trans project. Contract will be done as on time and material basis not to exceed $113,000, which includes funds for any testing or inspections that may be required. G-Trans is also requesting a contingency under the program of 10% or an additional $11,332 to accommodate any unforeseen expenditures that may arise. Current staff by the city does not have the expertise or the availability to manage this type of construction, thus the reason we went out for an RFP. Construction management services in support of the construction of G-Trans electric charging station is funded using local sales tax transit dollars and available to G-Trans. There is no impact on the general fund and approved. What is required is the approval of the agreement and the program not to exceed the amount requested.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments? Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In regards to, and this is kind of a global question, Mr. City Manager, I understand not having the capacity and or the subject matter expertise, but is this also an opportunity for our staff to gain that expertise as well? Do we provide those opportunities with a contract as well?
Yes, as we move forward with, this mixed hybrid fleet, we're going to be putting two things in. The charging station is electric, and then there's compressed natural gas. They will be providing project management services, but they will also be working closely with the G-Trans staff. So that will, by default, increase their knowledge and experience in managing these types of projects.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Medina. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
And Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8E2. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, as indicated, this is related to the first agenda item. This is an approval of an easement and utility services access agreement for Southern California Edison for the construction of the electric charging station. To support the construction and operation of a new electric charging station, G-Trans will be working with Southern California Edison to bring electrical service onto the property. And we're talking about a substantial amount of electrical service to the property. In order to finalize G-Trans requirements with SCE and to begin the project, certain contractual agreements are required for authorization and signature. One, of course, is an easement in order to furnish electricity to the site. SCE requires an easement for the rights of way for installation of its electrical distribution facilities. There's a conveyance of facilities. SCE requires a conveyance agreement for it to take over the maintenance responsibilities of the existing conduit and structures feeding the site. There's an electric distribution line extension. SCE requires an agreement pursuant to the Public Utilities Rule 15 to provide electrical services for the new installation. The applicant installation option, SCE provides the ability for G-Trans to use its own general contractor to install the required electrical infrastructure prior to SCE installing its own electrical equipment. Staff is requesting approval of the easement documents and the authority for acting city manager to sign the related agreements to bring electricity onto the property for G-Trans' new electric charging station and its current and future electric buses. Upon readiness for construction, G-Trans will be required to pay an initial cost of $4,418.72 for new electrical service, basically a hookup fee, to be provided. G-Trans intends to use its existing operating funds eligible for this purpose. There is no impact to the general fund. What's required is a proven easement and allow the authorization for the agreements to be signed.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments at this time? If not, can I get a motion to approve the agreement?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Next up is item number 8E3. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members City Council, agenda number 8E3 is an approved award of contract to Pinnacle Petroleum, Inc. for the purchase of unleaded gasoline fuel for the term of 2 years with 3 one-year options at a cost not to exceed the annual budget approved by the City Council. G-Trans and Public Works each utilize unleaded gasoline fuel to operate vehicles, fleets, and/or equipment. Currently, each department handles its own fuel purchasing needs through a request for quotes awarded to the lowest bidder. In seeking out a more cost-effective and efficient way of obtaining fuel, G-Trans and Public Works are jointly seeking a contract to purchase their projected fuel requirements on a contractual basis. This is one of the first times we've done this, and this is one of the ways that our departments are working more collaboratively to, number one, cut costs, but also reduce the number of RFPs and bids that we have to do. 8 different bids were received, and Pinnacle Petroleum, Inc. provided the lowest responsible and responsive bid. Purchase price of unleaded fuel will be tied to the average daily rack rate via a wholesale index called Oil Price Information Services, or OPIS. Pinnacle Petroleum's low bid would establish a price for unleaded gasoline at 0.013566 per gallon under the OPIS price, inclusive of delivery charges. Pricing rates would remain fixed for the first 2 years of the base contract and also for the next 3-year option. Each fiscal year, as part of the annual budget process, G-Trans and Public Works recommend their respective fuel budgets for the City Council, which must be approved by the City Council based on fuel usage estimates and estimates fuel prices for the coming year. In approving the contract, the City Council authorized the city to purchase needed fuel supplies within the approved fiscal year budget. G-Trans cost of fuel is funded using local sources available to G-Trans with no impact on the general fund. For Public Works, the cost is funded by the cost of the fuel is funded by the general fund. What is required is to approve the award.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments on this item? Councilmember Kaskanian?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A question, City Manager, how much dollar amount, I would say, that we spend yearly for petroleum at the G-Trans? Do we have a...
Each year, G-Trans requires over, believe it or not, 575,000 gallons at its facility. And for Public Works, it's only about 30,000 gallons. So it's a tiny fraction of what G-Trans.
But we don't know what's the dollar amount, right? That's the gallon that we know, or the dollar amount we're going to do times 0.013566.
It varies by gas prices.
I know, but we have a
Hold
budget,
on a
right,
second.
for last few years, how much money we spent.
Okay,
Oh,
hold on a second.
the price is actually based on the OPIS price, which is based at a 0.01356 per gallon below the OPIS price. So it's like a discount below the rack rate for
That's
gasoline.
our discount, that's
yeah,
right.
that's
Okay.
our discount rack rate. Also keep in mind that as a municipality, we do not pay the federal and state taxes on gasoline. So you can't compare it to like a
Gas
gasoline at the
station.
pump.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, in regards to the funding, the two different funding sources, we realize G-Trans has their own fund and Public Works is funded by the general fund. Is there a possibility, just curious, I like the collaboration, that we just say it's just our Gardena fleet and then the money that G-Trans gets just covers all the fueling costs?
I like the way you think, council member, but I think the FTA might have a problem with that. And certainly I believe the director wouldn't like that as well.
Guess
Unfortunately,
we can't
that
fill up either.
legally we can't do that. They're a mixed fleet. It's a different fleet.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, can I get a motion to approve this item?
So move.
Is there a second? Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Medina and a second by Councilmember Kaskanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Tanaka.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next up is item number 9AB, Council Directives. Do we have any directives at this time? Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In the spirit of us doing things differently, I would definitely like to get a second if we can authorize the city manager to start investigating some grants that have become available for our parks and recs, our transportation, our public works. If I could get a second for that, and also kind of get a follow-up because we're doing things differently in regards to our contracts that we're letting out, to have a demonstration of Planet Bids so everybody understands what that is. I know we're advertising in the Daily Breeze and Gardena Valley News, but that's kind of old school. If we want to get more competitive processes or competitors, we definitely want to demonstrate Planet Bids and everybody gets an understanding of what that is.
Just before the Planet Bids directive has already been issued, we want to make sure that the Planet Bids is fully operational, so we plan on doing it at the first council meeting in April as directed by the City Council.
Thank you. So I just need a second to authorize the city manager to investigate a couple grants.
Okay, before we go further, I'd like to just open up some quick discussion on this. So how are the grants coming available to us? I mean, how did we said to investigate?
Well, there's a couple of ways we can actually go after them ourselves, or we can solicit grant organizations to work for us, but I think we just need to look and see. We may be able to do some on our own, but that's when I asked the question earlier in regards to, can we start building some of this expertise in-house versus always contracting out, but we want to start looking at some of the options, the possibilities of pursuing these grants. How much work is it? Writing it? Do we need to hire somebody? But we don't want to leave any of this money on the table if we can go grab it.
So the directive is to look at whether it's better for us in-house to continue, because I think right now each department is doing their own as far as the different department heads reaching out to get grants, or is it better for us to hire a company?
Well, we don't want to hire. We want to see if that's an opportunity.
See if that's an opportunity.
Yeah, we don't want to hire anybody. We just want to see some of the grants that are available, if it's better for us to just try to write them ourselves and or look to see if we want to have a third party do that work.
If I could just make a quick recommendation, both those are definite alternatives. So, for example, we're currently submitted a grant for a juvenile justice program that was written in-house. That level of technical sophistication was much lower than some of the more real competitive, highly technical grants. What I think a good recommendation would be is to have me explore both options. One, to see if we have the capacity internally to extend and enhance our grant writing abilities here with our staff. The second one would be to explore opportunities through an RFP program of grant writers that can help us with that. Some of that grant writing can be recouped as a result of the award of the grant as well. So I could do both those sort of on parallel tracks for the City Council if that is the desire.
Okay. Is that kind of where you were going with that? Okay, I would second that. Okay, go ahead.
If we could just get a report. A few months back, Mr. City Manager, you reported about our new branding project for the City of Gardena and how we're going to identify ourselves moving forward. So I just want to get an update on that.
Yes, I will provide an update. We're currently in recruitment for a new economic development manager, so that's high on their list when they first start, but I can give you what we've done so far.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other directives? Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, Mr. City Manager, I just wanted to follow up on the agreement that basically a verbal agreement we had with the City of Torrance with regards to the pavement of Gramercy from 169th, actually from Artesia to 168th, I believe. We have a stop sign up there, but now the stop sign that was up on the wall is now on the floor, or should I say on the sidewalk. I don't know if it fell off, but it's now on a what do you call it? Seahorse or whatever it's called. So the sign came off the building, the stop sign. So just as a FYI, maybe we should follow up with the City of Torrance, because the whole time they thought that it was our city property, and ironically enough, it wasn't.
I will have Director Cruz go out and have some of his staff look at the sign and see if, I have a suspicion it was probably hit by a truck based on.
And that's already happened.
Yeah.
I witnessed it as I was coming up 169th to make a left. A 43-foot wheeler hit it and knocked over the sign.
And just for
I don't know if it fell off or not, but it's a problem.
And just for the council's information, anytime the directives are given at these council meetings, they're immediately entered in Gardena Direct, and the appropriate staff member is assigned to follow up on them.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other directives? Councilmember Tanaka?
Last council meeting, there was a memo put out about a street change name.
That is correct. I provided the council information on a request to have a street right off of 137th to be renamed for under the one of the patriarchs for the Ramona family. The direction was if the city council wanted to review that, and two of you directed to me move forward to bring something to the council. I will do that. I have not heard from any council member on that item yet.
I'd like to move on that.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Any other directors? Okay, I do have one. I would like to kind of investigate this item here, SB 827 here, if we can look a little bit more into this here, and if you could come back with a report from the staff in regards to this here.
That'll be on the next item, agenda item.
Okay, thank you. So if there are no other council directives, city manager remarks, directives, and council items.
Thank you. In your package, you have an informational memo about the 2018 visits to the City of Gardena by our sister city delegation, so the council should be made aware of that. Please, coordinate your attendance, and if you need any different information or assistance, Nancy Ward would be more than happy to help you. Our our annual 5-star bus rodeo is going to be taking place in Gardena. It was supposed to take place in Long Beach, but we're better, so they're here. No, I'm just kidding, Long Beach. But we're really happy to once again host it here, and it'll be at G-Trans. So if any of the council members want to go, there's information in the package there about that. There's also information there about a substantial home development. A letter was being sent out to the residents. We were able to get a copy of it. I thought it was very important the City Council have information about what developers sending out to the community. They've been very open and upfront with us. The copy of the letter is in your package. As I've done in the past, I think this is a substantial project, and I think maybe a study session on this with an overview of what it entails will be appropriate. I will schedule that as soon as we have our official meeting with KB Homes, if that's okay with the City Council. There is a memo in there regarding animal control as a directive by Mayor Serta. Specifically, some of the information there has to do with some of the limitations that animal control has with regards to, for example, coyotes, squirrels, raccoons, those kind of things. And the general consensus on those type of predatory mammals is that, first of all, they can't be disturbed. If you're going to trap them, they have to be by a licensed trapper. The only time animal control can get involved if there's a sick or injured animal there. I think what we need to do is, and we will be doing, and the City Council is providing, from the city is providing more information on our website and social media about the limitations of what animal control comes out. They cannot come out just because you have a raccoon, let's say in your yard or anything like that. You do have to contract a licensed, permitted a vendor to do that. And so there's some real specific information in your packages that will help you talk to your constituents about those issues. I wanted to remind the City Council and also notify everyone that all of the City Council has now gone paperless, which is a great tool for our yeah, it certainly helps save the environment, and it's nice that we all have gone paperless on that. I don't know if you're going to announce this, but the memorial wall, the wall that heals, is coming to Gardena. We're very, very lucky to have that wall coming. There's a flyer there, April 5th through the 8th. It's going to be hosted at Mas Fukai Park. Once again, thank you to Kelly Fugio, her staff, Joseph Cruz and his staff. They've done some improvements around the park. It is a smaller replication of the Vietnam Memorial, and we're really happy to have that in Gardena during those time periods. And that concludes my report, Mayor.
Oh, okay, thank you. So next up is council remarks, and first up tonight is Mayor Pro Tem Medina.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last council meeting, I've had quite a few meetings. One of them was with the Metro Council, which is a council of certain council people from the South Bay area representing the Metropolitan Transit Authority. And I just want to take my hat off to Ernie Crespo, our bus director for G-Trans. A lot of the things that we voted on, he was responsible for, or at least he'll take the blame. But it's saving our city council, saving our city lots of money with regards to transportation, especially public transportation. And at the Metro Council, we're covering all the South Bay area, getting ready for not only the 2028 Olympics, but also the Super Bowl that will be held in Inglewood. And Inglewood itself is building the stadium. And the city of Gardena, Inglewood, Hawthorne, Carson, we all need to step up our publicity for our restaurants, our hotels, and shopping in general, because the city of Inglewood is really gearing up to bring in a lot of people into that city, and the overflow will be overwhelming to the city of Gardena. So I commend Mr. Crespo for investing tons of money to improve our city. And we meet every last Friday of the month at at the City of Inglewood City Hall. And for those of you who have any problems with Metropolitan Transit or G-Trans, you can also go there and make your complaints heard. But if you have any transportation problems with G-Trans, just call G-Trans itself. It's a lot faster. He returns his calls and he takes care of business. So please keep that in mind. I also attended the vector control meeting, which for those of you who don't know, vector control is mosquitoes. Mosquito season is officially started. For those of you who have standing water, which obviously is raining, but after the rains are over, if they're ever over, make sure you don't leave any standing water, because the Zika mosquitoes have moved from Florida and they're moving themselves west toward New Orleans and parts of Texas. And for those of you women who don't know about the Zika mosquito, it creates a lot of hardships for the newborns. Some are born deformed because of that. The Zika mosquito actually attacks people as opposed to the Aedes mosquito and the other malaria mosquitoes, which don't attack people. They just bite you at random. But the Zika, Z-I-K-A, do attack people, and they're very aggressive. So please get rid of your standing water if you have any anywhere in the Southern California area. And I also attended the police forum, the Gardena Police Forum at Nakaoka last week, and my hats off to Captain Kang. He did a good job. Come to find out, overall, our crime in the city of Gardena is up 1%. Compared to other cities that are up in double digits, some are still climbing, but we're very blessed that we have the leadership of Mr. Kang, and also used to be Chief Police Ed Medrano, who set up the organized method of districting and making sure that we communicate with our police department. Because in the old days when I had hair, it was hard to communicate with the police department because there was that reticence, and these two gentlemen are responsible for the communication factor that we have with our police department. So I commend you both for having that forum. It taught us a lot about our traffic accidents, our burglaries, and everything else that you wanted to ask but didn't. So if, for those of you who don't know it, please subscribe to Gardena Direct. It's free. You can put it on your phone. You can find out where all the accidents are, where the burglaries are. If you spot a burglar, you see a guy hitting a girl, you can actually videotape it, report it to Gardena Direct, and the police department will take care of it right away, and no one will drop a dime on you saying, well, he said. So for those of you who live in Gardena, please subscribe to Gardena Direct. It's free, and you can put it on your phone and your tablet or your computer, whatever you want, but the point is it's free, and it's a support system for the community. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Oh, wait, sorry, before you go on, I wanted to commend Kelly Fugio on the wall that's coming up. I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I was very privileged to go see the wall in Washington, D.C., and it's been 5 years since the wall has been in California. The last time I was here was at the Rose Hills, at the cemetery. So we're very blessed that we have it here in Gardena. I've notified all my veteran friends and notified the Veterans Administration as well that we're going to have it here for the next April 5th through the 8th, 24 hours a day. So for those of you who have veteran friends or people that would like to see the replica, it's a traveling wall of honoring our veterans, and we have a lot of them from Gardena as well. Sorry, Madam.
That's okay. Okay, next up is Councilmember Kaskanian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last meeting, I was with my colleague too, Mr. Medina, or I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Medina, at the community forum. I would like to congratulate Deputy Chief Kang Dan that he did very well job done. Good explanation. We are in a safe city. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Please relay our thanks to your commanding chief, whoever, And on March 1st, I attended the Finance Committee meeting, and I would like to rest assured to the city of Gardena, we are doing great. thank you, Mr. City Manager and the staff preparing the and on Thursday, I would like to remind the citizens of Gardena, state of the city, this coming Thursday. Please RSVP if you didn't. And thank you, Kelly, for your effort to bring the Vietnam Wall, the miniature, to the city of Gardena. And I would like to thank Joe Cruz. I asked him for a favor, and he did that favor right away on Rosecrans Avenue, right by on the center median. I seen few vehicles that went over the curve. They popped their tires. So I asked Mr. Cruz to do something about it, and they painted it yellow. A few days later, I noticed that the paint was done, and since that day, nothing happened. So, and that will end my report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Councilmember Tanaka.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Community forum by PD was a great job. Our neighborhood watch were kind of highlighted, and you know, if you're not a member of the districts, you should probably find out where your closest one is and start participating, because they do a lot of great things, report crimes, and keep us a lot safer, because they assist the PD, and only with the assistance of community and police can we actually combat crime. I went to the monthly League of California Cities meeting. They exposed homelessness within the LA County. It's really bad. So, you know, if you have any ideas, if you have any thoughts, you know, send information to your city officials, whether it be county, city, Los Angeles, Gardena. Express your concerns and maybe some ideas on how we can possibly combat this, because it's getting worse day by day. Attended a Elks fundraiser for a 12-year-old that had a heart transplant. I believe it was last year. And the Elks raised a lot of money for her and her family. So I'm just glad to be a part of the Elks in Gardena, that we do such great things for people within our community. Kelly, it's great that we're getting this wall, because there are 24 residents of the city of Gardena on that wall that sacrificed their lives in Vietnam. So come out and share that experience. Come see the wall, come touch the wall. I think the people from Gardena, there are places upon the wall where you can actually find their names within what company, what battle they were in. So participate. It's 24 hours a day for 3 days, so you'll have plenty of time to come out and see that. Deputy Chief Ken, good luck in your endeavors. We hope that whatever happens, you do a job that we'll be proud of. And you know, Mr. Kennedy couldn't have said it any better, and congratulations, Ed, on being our city manager. That process does save us thousands of dollars. Ed has proven himself, because I was one of those people that was looking at maybe having a search for a city manager. But when you look at his progress, you look at all the things that he's already done, he's proven himself to this point, and why would we pay thousands of dollars to get the same guy that we're going to get anyway? It just doesn't make sense. And so I thank you for all your diligence and hard work that you've done up to now, and I myself am looking forward to your future to see what else you can do. Madam Mayor, that ends my report.
Okay, thank you. And I'm up next. Since the last council meeting, I too attended the police community forum, and I'm just going to share and say the same thing that my colleagues previously said. It was a great community forum that was put on by Chief King now. Sounds nice saying that. I also, too, attended the Finance Committee meeting, and just want to echo the same thing that Councilmember Kaskanian said. Happy to say that we are still continually doing well here in Gardena financially. I also attended the Holly Park homeowners meeting on the first Thursday in the month. And then on that following Friday, I attended the Los Angeles Gateway Chamber of Commerce as they honored veterans in the South Bay area. And this year, they were honoring all Army veterans, well, not all, but many Army veterans. And one of the veterans from Gardena was Mr. Major Andrew Aarons. And so they picked veterans from Gardena, Hawthorne, Torrance, Lawndale, Alameda, et cetera, and honored them. And it was a really nice ceremony. And their main speaker, and his name escapes me, but he had such an impressive background. And he was in the Vietnam War. And early on, as he was beginning his time in the military, he had his legs blown off while on duty. And when he came back, you know, everybody, I guess, just kind of expected him just to, you know, kind of sit by the side and not do anything. And he just led a very impressive career where he went on to become a world champion weightlifter, bodybuilder, and then went on to become a conditioning coach for one of the national football teams, which, again, I apologize, that escapes me, and just went on, just doing a variety of great things, and he was just such an inspiration. Unfortunately, he had gotten sick the day of this function, but he was so determined to be there that he FaceTimed himself to the event, and they put it on a projector screen because he was just determined to speak at this event. And just, you know, as we were there honoring all of the Army veterans. So it was a really nice event to attend. So this year they were honoring all the Army veterans, especially from the Vietnam War, from World War II. And next year they're going to be honoring the Marine Corps veterans. So I was happy to be able to attend that. And also on that following Saturday, I attended Gardena's Cymbidium show that was held at Rush Gym, and some of the most beautiful orchids I've ever seen there. And it was really nice to just to see what some of the local growers have grown over the past 2 years. It was truly an art looking at some of the flowers there. And then on last Friday, I attended Career Day at 156th Street School. And as always, I'm always happy to do those and just share with the little kids that, you know, they didn't say ladies or women, but girls can be council members and mayors too. So that was really nice to attend. And then on last Saturday, I attended it was an award ceremony for Regina Renee Napier, who's done a lot of volunteer work in the city of Gardena, feeding homeless and just helping people all over the South Bay. So I was there representing Gardena, but there were certificates of recognition and humanitarian awards from all of the South Bay cities for all of the work that she's done throughout the community. So I was happy to be able to attend that too. And then on this past Saturday, I also, along with Councilmember Tanaka, attended the fundraiser for this, I believe she was Gardena resident, a young girl who had medical expenses as a result of a heart transplant. So it was a really nice event, and it was really great to see so many people who were there and who had donated money just for this young lady here. And then also on yesterday, I attended Genesis Church, which is right across the street here from City Hall, their Clinic in a Box, where they had free dental, vision, and legal assistance to residents free of charge. They had dentists and dental cleaning there done free of charge to people. All you had to do was sign up. And they had several chairs there, and this was for Sunday and Monday, as well as vision checks. You were able to get glasses there, and you know, the doctors came out, the assistants came out, and they also gave out food as well. I'd like to also thank our staff here in the city of Gardena for assisting them. I believe there were representatives from Human Services. I believe Chief King was also out there as well. And I just want to applaud Genesis Church for just having this this special event here within our city. And I was told that people drove from a couple of hours away just to be able to benefit from some of the free services there. I also, on that same day, attended the Mayor's Roundtable Conference that was led by LA Mayor Garcetti. And as we talked about some of the issues and concerns in the LA area, the big topic was cannabis. So they were explaining some of the things that they were doing in their communities. And it was really interesting because at one point, the mayor of LA asked how many cities have approved marijuana dispensaries, and majority of the cities that were present said no, they hadn't. So I was kind of surprised to see that. And so that was really good as well. I would also just like to give a special congratulations and a thank you to Sarah High School as well as Gardena PD. On last Thursday, I'm sure many of you may have seen this on the news, but Sarah High School had received information, I guess via social media, that there was a student who was threatening to bring a gun on campus and do harm. And because of their fast thinking, they contacted Gardena PD, and they were able to make sure that that situation did not happen as far as any type of shooting on campus. So I would just like to commend you guys, Gardena PD, along with Sarah High School, for acting so quickly and making sure that that school was safe. You know, I'd rather be on the news for making sure that we were proactive and making sure that, you know, we didn't have an active shooter situations versus being on the news afterwards saying, man, I never saw that coming. So again, I'd just like to congratulate you guys on that. And I believe that ends my report. And next up is Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This will be brief. I too was at the police forum. Since our last meeting, I conducted park meetings as well as an open city hall as well. What else did I do? I participated in a panel for local government and the use of data. Definitely happy to report that actually we use our data very well and everything. We want to make sure that we just kind of publicize that anymore. I noticed the data that Chief Kang presented at the police forum. We want to make sure that we just keep presenting that. We talked about what we do with this data and how we can predict activity and different things like that, as well as our data in regards to our finances. So I want to make sure we stay on top of that and publicize that when we can. I also met with some other technology folks in regards to economic development in the city of Gardena. It would be helpful as we start moving towards our economic development vision to start thinking about how we get the city wired as best we can as we start creating business parks and different things like that, to just figure out how we can incorporate that into our vision as we move forward in preparation for all these football stadiums and different things that are coming here. We want to definitely take advantage of that. And another question I noticed from Open City Hall, people were emailing me, Facebook and everything. A lot of people don't understand the boundaries of City of Gardena. And that's probably been a historical issue. So some folks that live east of Vermont, although they have the email or the mailing address, believe they're actually in City of Gardena proper. So most of them either live in the unincorporated area or the Harbor Gateway. So we want to see if we can, I don't know if we'd put it on our website or maybe like a reminder that Gardena, maybe a map and everything like that, because you'd be surprised how many people come with issues that surround us. And, you know, I try to facilitate and point them to folks in their area, but they really kind of get frustrated that they can't be a part of the City of Gardena and everything like that. So we have to figure something like that and or work on a plan to annex these areas so we can get that property tax and everything as well. So so ends my report, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. And let's see, next up, announcements. A couple of quick announcements here. Let's see. This is this weekend, actually, the 44th annual Koi Show that's going to be here at the Gardena Civic Center, which is March 17th and 18th. Koi Show is open to the public. There's no admission fee. This will be beautiful fish, entertainment, koi, and pond products. So, again, this coming Saturday and Sunday, March 17th and 18th. Also, there's another event that we had announced at the last council meeting, and I think it's already filled to capacity, but I just kind of want to put it out there again because possibly they might hold a second meeting. But this was the Active Shooter Response Seminar, which is going to be on March the 24th from 12:30 to 2:30. And I was glad to see that a lot of people were very interested in this. So I think it is filled, but hopefully there will be, it is full. Hopefully we can get another seminar for this coming up here again. And maybe if you call and reserve still, you can have your name put on the list for the next one. Also, on March 31st, Saturday, March 31st, it's Breakfast with the Easter Bunny at the Nakaoka Community Center. And this is from 8 a.m. to 10:45. There's a pre-sale of tickets, $5 for adult and children. The day of the event, it's $7. And at 10 a.m., there's an Easter egg hunt on City Lawn. And then lastly here, it was mentioned a couple of times earlier, the Wall That Heals. The opening ceremony, welcoming ceremony, will be Saturday, April 7, 2018, at 10 a.m. at Fukai Park, and that's at 15800 South Brighton Avenue here. So I'm sure we have more information on all of the announcements I made in our hallway here at City Hall, and maybe on our website as well, too. So next we're going to move on to our adjournments. Tonight we have one adjournment. Tonight we'll be adjourning in memory of Mr. Aiden Sorto. He was 89 years old, and he was the beloved grandfather of custodian Henry Soto Munoz of the Recreations, Human Services, Parks and Facilities Department. So the Gardena City Council meeting will now adjourn to our next regularly scheduled City Council meeting, which will be at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, March the 27th, 2018. We are adjourned.
Did you fall asleep? Did you fall asleep? Actually, I only went to graduate school. Same. Just for graduate. Same thing. I went to business school. Oh, okay, you went to Marshall. It wasn't called Marshall then. Gotcha. They didn't change the name to Marshall until he wrote out a big check. He put his name on it. It was good to meet you. They didn't have the building they have now. They only had that white military building. Right, yeah, they just that was the only building they had. Actually, I attended. And for the grandkids are already out there? Air Force. All the personnel there. They didn't wear uniform, but they're all. Let me see how you go. Yeah, I think that's still kind of the occurrence. Yeah, he didn't know I went to USC, did you? Nice to meet you.